What's good, everybody? It's Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, back at it with another reaction. What's good, Renegades? What's good, book club? Yo, we got part three of the money games. Now, there was a suggestion as far as to listen to another track before this, but I had already said on the money game one and two that I was gonna drop this one, on Monday. So I wanted to make sure to stick to that. But I am going to listen and react to the other track. So don't think that I'm going to ignore you because they said that it was in addition to, it was like Money Games 1, Money Games 2, this track, and then Money Games 3. Now, I've also heard that he's won like awards and everything for this track. So, from everything that I heard on Money Games 1 and 2, I can definitely see why. Now, this one's almost 10 minutes long. So the other ones packed a punch, half that time frame. So I can just imagine how intricate this is. Even just starting off having a piano instead of like the guitar, I wonder what the difference is going to be. But if you're new to the channel, make sure you leave, like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video on the road to 10K. Make sure to check out my description for my musicals, comics, and more, and also the pinned comment for the REN reaction playlist, where you can check out all my REN reactions there. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Yo, the camera angles are insane. Samuel Ren video. Multiple masked up. Rand is so ridiculously talented, man. If that was him on the piano as well, goodness gracious. It's crazy because that's how they used to hang people, to cover their face up. New location. It's crazy because like that how that it's like haunting and beautiful at the same time. It's like something you would see like or hear, I don't know, like on the road to the other side type of thing. Like it's like if the angel of death was just harmonizing you to the other side. It's just all like that. The way that you can hear the pain within his voice, it almost seems like he's this conduit, and it almost seems like it's other people coming through him, in this weird type of way. It's dope.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. 1 years old and his first words were mine, mine, gimme. 2 years old he was walking, 3 years old walking quickly. 4 years old he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years old and his daddy told him, listen here son, you gotta learn to be a man. A man, he works for what he wants. 6 years old and he's reading, writing, top of the bunch. And when he's 7, his progression made him student number 1. 8 years old and he's praised for unusual grades. 9, his parents paid for private school to nurture the flame. 10, 11, 12, 13, he ascends and ascends. His daddy tells him, son, money is the means to all ends. 14, solving complex mathematical equations. At 15, IQ 150, still elevating. 16, he develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17, and he sells his vision, keeping the share. Not yet an adult, but he's practically a millionaire. 18, and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns the truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself. 23, a life of luxury, crystal and cocaine. 24, he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25, and his daddy tells him, listen here son, while you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business to arms. He's 27, dealing nuclear and shells in Iran. 28, inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. Now he's 30, his daddy says you're losing the race. You're just a servant to the king, not even in second place.
Yo, what's interesting about this story is how much he's highlighting the parental influence on shaping what this young boy is doing, and how that's important to a lot of decisions that children make, and using key words that we hear. Like, you're not a real man if you don't do this. You're not a real man if X, Y, and Z. All on this concept of what someone else thinks is the real man. Instead of looking at the fact like, okay, cool, they did the things by fueling the flame and nurturing his creativity and different things like that. But at the same token, what I look at in all of these different successes, that we see the material things that are afforded to these people, the different type of trips or whatever that these people are able to do. But me, I always look at, when available, the downside, or when they get candid in certain interviews and different things like that, because it lets you know that the money does not matter. And so the thing that I didn't hear within all of that growth, as far as this kid to a man, was life experiences. That's the thing that I noticed with a lot of successes, is that at the end of the day, you can't turn back time. And we feel like once we have X, Y, and Z, aka money or resources, that then life shall begin for us. But you have to think about how long, in some cases, that particular moment comes, if at all. And so therefore, you've gone your entire life up into that point, ignoring the actual things that matter. It is difficult to be successful, to have these particular things, but it doesn't mean that we miss out on having friends, with interacting with life, and doing things and gathering experiences. And it's a hard balance, because yeah, if you're doing something, if you're trying to aspire to do something, you do have to put a crazy amount of time, to set yourself apart. But at the same time, you're not going to, in my opinion, You're not going to lose whatever edge that you have because you decided to take a weekend to go hang out with family or, something like that. So that's another thing that I noticed with him telling this particular story, that and how the parents, influence brought that up all the way into his 30s. He's got all this success doing as far as the things that his dad had said. And it seems like, I'm not sure, but it seems like his dad's trying to get him into a position of power to where that's what he feels like is a man, like above all this, different things. And it's interesting him telling that story from like birth to 30 now and all the different things, because who he's describing is an avatar for what we've seen play out. Some of these people are their platforms and the thing that they create outlive them because they crash out, metaphorically or like literally, and some of them they themselves, and it's wild. But I don't know if that's the direction that this person's gonna go that he's describing, but we're gonna see. This is crazy. As you can see, when the subject matter, like it will automatically get me to talking to what I need to, talk about. You know what I mean? So this is dope.
In product 20 double down deposits, 21 his income rockets, 22 he learns that truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data then the lie will sell itself. 23 a life of luxury, crystal and cocaine. 24 he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25 and his daddy tells him, listen here son, while you're sitting in that palace that don't mean that you won. 26 a business shift, he switches business to arms. He's 27 dealing nuclear and shells in Iran. 28 inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. Now he's 30, his daddy says you're losing the race. You're just a servant to the king, not even in second place. 31, a big maneuver for his daddy's approval, moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32, moving grams, growing kilos to tons. He's 33, filling warehouses with powder and guns. 34, turf war with nobody to stop it. Blind eye from the po-po inside of his pocket.
Dang.
35, he gets the call. I'm sorry son, but it's your father. Had a heart attack, I'm sorry, he's gone. 36, getting pissed up, abusing his product. 37, eyes glazed, disposition demonic. 38, with a prostitute, a moment of passion, heating up a silver spoon and then chasing the dragon. 39, getting reckless and hungry for power. Daddy's words are still driving him to kill and devour. Makes a move against the cartel, but the strategy's flawed. They retaliate and leave him in a hospital ward. A bullet buried in his vertebra and one in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, I don't think you'll be walking again. Fuck.
Dang. Yo, the intensity. And I like the fact that it shifted from the guitar to the piano, because to me, I feel like, especially in that area of the world, uh, when you think about certain classical music, piano goes way back. I would say a lot more in, I would say, our human history than the guitar. So I feel like him using the piano for this third one and detailing this, I can see like why is what award, like especially even the video itself, the way everyone's depicted other than himself with the bags around their head, even the location that he chose, the cinematography, the story that's being told, and it's wild. Like I said, the words of the father is still carrying through, and him getting to this particular point, switching all this from being that smart kid, and you can see where things lead, by influence. And we have choice, but it's just all like it's very important to recognize certain things as early as possible because people, especially those that are close to you, have the biggest influence. So you're going to need to know how to hear things that are coming your way and be able to filter, because some people give it to you unsolicited and different things like that, and you don't need to listen to everything. You know what's right and wrong. You know what I mean? But when you're at that young age and you have that particular um trust, in someone like a parent, it's difficult to not hear things that they say and not take it as law. You know what I mean? So it's this story, everything is really dope. And like I said, the choice of the piano, I think it's very, very dope. It's very, very dope.
Bullet buried in his vertebra and one in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, I don't think you'll be walking again. Fuck.
This is so freaking crazy. How is this gonna end? Oh, it's got the freaking strings in this bitch.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. He was
Oh
40
man.
and he cursed the words, mine, mine, gimme. 41 he wasn't walking, 42 not walking quickly, 43 never running round the pavements of his city, 44 inside a palace with a mountain of gold. But those riches turn to rubble when perspective evolves. Weighing heavy on his conscience is the value of gold. Lamborghini for a life, trading money for souls. Jimmy followed the code inside the land of the free. Put your hand inside the cookie jar, take more than you need. And his example is exaggerated versions of me. And it's a version of him, and it's a version of she, and it's a version of you. There's no escaping the blame. The way we live is parasitic. Fuck the money and fame. Cut the music.
Man.
This isn't entertainment. This is real life. The way we live is lunacy. Community, it declines. Hyperpolarized, always fighting, then we divide. Truth is less important than the money that we designed. Money's an invention. Politics from our invention. They all come from people's ideas.
Money
Did I
gang.
mention? Border's an invention. Law and order fuel the tension. It leads to people killing each other. My solution?
I don't know why. Seeing him with the gun, I could definitely see him playing some type of spy or action in some type of action movie. I'm just all like, man, the way the camera, everything's captured is so cinematic, and then I'm just all like, yo, I can see him in some type of freaking action movie now.
Everything is subject to change.
Yeah.
We could build utopias if individuals were taught to use their brains.
Before we get into that, this video is sponsored by me. Hey, if you want to dive into new music, I have a catalog. Yeah. These are not singles, these are albums. But more recently this year, I did release an album called Tame Chaos. So you can listen, stream, download, purchase all of that in the link in the description. And just check it out because I want to see if people are actually seeing this and going to the site. So anyways,
But if we teach kids in schools to always be sheep and put themselves before the herd, if there's more money for me, There's no future I see where the humans survive. We're parasites inside a petri dish with cannibal minds. Mold will grow upon the surface and consume till it dies. And our fate could be the same without this story to the wise. "45. Jimmy comes home out of the rain, soaking wet upon a wheelchair, drinking again. He is everything he wants, he is fortune and fame. He's a fortunate fool with an unfortunate fate. With a 45 caliber aimed at his brain. 45 a fitting number cause his age is the same. Here's the words of his father, it's such a damn shame." Then he presses on the trigger of a money game.
Mm, mm, And what's crazy is that he was dealing weapons and arms, and oh man, oh man, beautifully done. Play the money game, and it's dope that he used the third one to tell the story of Jimmy. Like I said, Jimmy's an avatar, and like he said, for exaggerated version of him, he, she, like all of us, and how that money game leads so many people down this spiral. And what's crazy is we'll see so many examples and still fall into the money game. It's like we think like we won't get caught up in it because we go in there with good intentions. And I'm not saying everyone that has a lot of money is evil and different things like that. It's those are the people you don't really hear about, which is good. I think that's probably the best thing because I think it is the fame aspect. And it's not saying that there aren't people with lots of money that people don't know about that are doing evil stuff. But I don't think that that is only to boil down to money. I feel like aspects of evil are going to show up everywhere, just like aspects of good is going to show up everywhere. It people being put in crazy circumstances and having to do things that they really shouldn't, and I look at the story of Jimmy, I look at the story of so many people, and it's especially, I mean, we could look at it in the music industry, in the field that I'm in. We see so many artists get put into this money game. So many creatives get put into this money game. You know, um, Bright stars, athletes, everybody, regular people, doctors, teachers, everybody falls into this money game. And it's like, what is the solution if we're looking at it from the aspect of humans being parasites? But I like to have I like to, despite all the craziness that's going on, I like to believe that there is hope. Despite how things may look in certain aspects, I do understand that there's only but so much perspective you can have unless you go to some of these places in person. Even then, things can be presented a certain way. So it's good to just get an accumulation of all aspects before having a strong opinion on certain things. So I like to look at advancements. I like to look at amazing feats humans, do because despite all the bad stuff, that stuff's happening, you know, and it's dope. It's dope. This puts me in a very introspective mode. It's genius. Even him adding the strings as well. Uh, even though it wasn't for that long, I feel like it was very fitting for the end, and everything built up. I can remember everything from, the first one, the lone person and the guitar and this, type of warehouse type of setup, and then going into everything. It's like, yo, this was dope. This was freaking fire. But anyways, let me know what y'all think in the comments. It's Mr. Composition, and MC that writes fiction, back at it with another reaction. Make sure to like, subscribe. Notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video on the road to 10K. Make sure to check out the description for my music, books, comics, and more. All right, y'all. Peace.